Who is Javier Tebas and what does he do? First of all, he is the president of La Liga. Second of all, he's a Madridista.
But he was
one of Satan's greatest soldiers.
But when did he took over La Liga and when did he become the presidente? He became the president back in 2013, and that's when he implemented the famous squad cost limit policy. And what is that? Perhaps it's a policy that requires every single La Liga club to only spend money that you earn from revenue, from selling tickets, winning trophies, blah, 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 blah. So, and the reason why he implemented was actually a good idea in hindsight, because a lot of not Barcelona, why am I keep saying Barcelona? A lot of Spanish clubs were facing bankruptcy during that time because their owners were just gambling money from their own pocket in hopes that the club finished top 4, deliver some Copa del Rey, maybe winning trophies, selling a lot of tickets, blah blah, just gambling their aura and money, but ultimately failing, and that's why they were in a lot of debt, facing bankruptcy. So in order to stop that, he said you can only spend money when you earn. So that's a very good policy in my opinion during that time as well. Did it work? Yes, it worked. Back in 2013, from 2020, it was working absolutely fantastically. La Liga teams were not affected whatsoever. I mean, they were competing in European competition. Real Madrid won three-peat. Sevilla won three-peat. Barcelona won Champions League during that time. Atletico Madrid went to 2 finals, Champions League finals, and won a Europa League final as well. So what happened after 2020? The pandemic started, which meant every single club has lost money because there's no tickets to sell. Stadiums were empty, and that means that ultimately more than 50% of every single La Liga club's revenue were gone. Especially Barcelona, because they had the biggest stadium in Europe at least, and not being able to sell some tickets would ultimately cost Barcelona, and that's why Barcelona are still in this position they are in today. Real Madrid also got affected, obviously. Atletico Madrid also got affected because during that time as well, the Wanda Metropolitano was very new, so they had to sell a lot of tickets in order to get some money back of what they spent building that stadium. Other teams adjusted. Other teams also obviously had some FRP or something. They have some specific rules when it comes to spending. But ever since the pandemic started, they have started to loosen their policy. They were not so strict in terms of the spending because they knew what kind of challenges these clubs have faced in terms of selling or revenue whatsoever. But La Liga stood on business.
Standing on business.
Javier Tebas said, we
do not care.
Is it Javier Tebas' fault that La Liga cannot spend, or La Liga clubs cannot even spend nowhere near how Premier Leagues are spending? Partly yes, because first of all, on paper, he's just following the policy which he implemented back in 2013. So in that regard, he did nothing wrong. But at the same time, when you see La Liga teams struggling to register players, to even qualify to the later stages in the Champions League, Europa League, falling behind the Premier League year by year. Do you want La Liga to compete with Premier League? Do you want La Liga to dominate the Champions League, Europa League, like they used to do back in the 2010s? Because that is not the case as of right now. Let's look at La Liga's most expensive transfer this summer. Dean Huijsen, 62 million. Alvaro Carreras, 50 million. Franco Mastatuano, 45. Alex Baena, 42. George Mikatauze, 31. David Hanco, 26, Juan Garcia 25, Renato Veiga 24, Johnny Cardoso 24, Anthony 22. So the most expensive arrival in La Liga was 62 million. Defender from Premier League, Bournemouth. Let's compare that to the Premier League. Alexander Isak, number 1, 145 million. Florian Wirtz, 125. Hugo Ekitike, 95. Nick Woltemade, 85. Benjamin Sesko, 76. Brian Muemo, 75. Cunha, 74. Zubimendi, 70. Eberich SS, 69. And Victor Gyökeres, 65. So La Liga's most expensive arrival was 62 million. Premier League's 10th most expensive arrival was Victor Gyökeres, 65 million. You see the gap? This is absolutely crazy. And the fact that the club like Manchester United, who finished 16th or 15th in Premier League, is able to sign 3 players over 70 million. Tells you a lot, man. Look, Javier Tebas, obviously, he has done nothing wrong, technically. It's just following a policy in which he implemented back in 2013. But you see the gaps, man. Year by year, the Premier League is going forward, becoming more bigger than ever. Sometimes you gotta sacrifice these policies in order for the better of the league. I don't care about this policy because at the end of the day, it's just making the league worse. Do you want the league to be better? Do you want the league to get more viewers? Now, in a sad attempt of getting more viewers, you want to host a game between Barcelona and Villarreal in the USA. Come on, man. Come on. I don't know, Javier Tebas. Do you want what's best for the league or what's best for you, for your ego? Because this is what I'm getting. He just wants to stand on business, just want to show that the clubs, or I don't know if you have beef with Perez or Laporta. I feel like he just wants to show authority. And this is costing the league. Let's look at Atletico Madrid, who spent the most in this transfer window, 25-26 summer, who spent 176 million, with Real Madrid being a second, 167, Villarreal 100 million, and Real Betis ahead of Barcelona, surprisingly, 60 million, and Barcelona has spent 27 million. Compare that to Premier League. Liverpool, obviously, 464 million. Chelsea 328, Arsenal 290, Newcastle 288, Manchester United 250, Nottingham Forest 236, Tottenham 210, Manchester City 200, Sunderland 187, and West Ham 143. So Sunderland, who's ranked 9 in terms of spending, have spent almost 10 million. Yes, they have spent 11 million more than La Liga's number 1, Atletico Madrid. This is unprecedented, man. Premier League, I know they spending way too much as well. So comparing Premier League to La Liga as of right now is crazy. But if I try to even compare it to the likes of Bundesliga maybe, or who else, Serie A, I think the gap is still, I think those leagues might still have spent more than La Liga, man. Man, the Premier League is actually the new Super League, man. 464 million by Liverpool. God damn. But let me know your thoughts, man. I feel like La Liga is still falling behind day by day, man.